Hey everyone, I am Anubhav Garg, management trainee from Law Seco, and I welcome you all in our today's session, Career in Energy Laws, Everything You Need to Know. And as a subject matter expert, we have Raj Singh Niranjan sir with us. Sir is a managing partner of Trans India Law Associates, and he's a person I personally admire a lot. I have learned a lot from him. So, if I talk about uh, sir, why don't you, for the sake of our viewers, why don't you give a brief introduction of your own?
Okay. Thank you, Anubhav. Uh, I am managing partner of Trans India Law Associates and legal advisor to International Solar Alliance, which is the first UN body to have headquarters in India. I have also written the first book on Electricity Act in 2003. So this book was the only book available to the entire energy sector and including all the courts, whether it is Supreme Court, Appellate Tribunal of Electricity, CERC, or the State Electricity Regulatory Commission. So for 5 years, my book was the only book available. The reason was that in 2003, the Act of 2003 was a revolutionary act. It introduced a lot of new concepts actually. Such as maybe open access, trading of electricity, licensing of the power sector. So this is briefly what I do.
We have reserved the questions from you guys at the end of the session. So in this time, first I will be asking Raj sir the questions, and at the end, if there is something which is left unaddressed, then you guys can. Then Raj sir is all yours. So sir is also the founder of Dr. Gopal Energy Foundation. He is also the legal advisor for International Solar Alliance and president of International Energy Arbitration Center. And if I will go on um, telling the designations and responsibilities Raj sir have, then the session will all pass. So, sir, why don't we start with your journey as a lawyer?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. But then before starting the journey, I would like to seek help of everyone in a particular area. So, and in the course of this discussion, I will tell you my journey also. So our firm Trans India Law Associates started 4 decades back in 1984, and my uncle and my father started the firm. And the individual practice was transferred to corporate practice in 2008. And now Tila has become the largest law firm in the world in energy sector. And 5 years back, we were all the partners were sitting and they said that society has given us a lot. What have we given back to the society? It is good to be professional. It is good to advise all the clients. It is good to do professional work and earn revenues for ourselves. But what have we given back to the society? And this question also came into mind when I was studying in Delhi University. Our fees was only 900 rupees per semester. And I don't think so that by the fees which I was paying, 900 rupees, the institution was running. Somebody was supporting the institution. And finally, we understood that the government of India was supporting the institution. The taxpayers' money was involved in educating all of us, most of us, in fact. So what have we given back to the society? So instead of doing small things, we said, let us do one big thing. So we decided to identify, since we were expert in energy sector, energy laws, so we decided to identify the biggest challenge in the world in energy sector. And instead of we as partners deciding what is the biggest challenge in the world in energy sector, we said, let us call the expert. Collective wisdom is always better than individual intellectualism. So we said, let us call the expert and ask them that what is the biggest challenge in the world in energy sector. So we called a conference which is called TILA International Conference on Energy in 2016. And we invited experts from Europe, from China, from Southeast Asia, Africa, and obviously the power sector of India was also there. So generation companies, distribution, transmission, trading of electricity, power exchanges, so all were present. And only there was one question, what is the biggest challenge in the world in energy sector? After the one-day event, we were very surprised with the answers. So always while working in the power sector, we used to think that AT&C losses, if you are aware of it, it is, aggregate technical losses. Like if there is a theft, there were a lot of losses. That is the biggest challenge. We used to think that discoms were the biggest challenge, and similar things we were used to think. But the experts said, no, these are not the biggest challenge. They said, there is not one big challenge, there are three important challenges. First challenge is that 1.2 billion people across the world do not have access to electricity. So we are all blessed that we are all sitting on Zoom and discussing things, bigger things. But imagine a situation of a people, 1.2 billion people across the world do not have access to electricity. Second biggest challenge which the experts identified, the professors and obviously the industry expert, they said second biggest challenge is 3.2 billion people across the world do not have access to clean fuel to cook food. So mothers cook food in a smoky environment and they do not suffer alone. The child of 1 day to 10 years also is sitting. He or she has no place to go. So the World Bank says 2017 reports that 5 million people every year die because of this problem. Third challenge. If in India the per capita power consumption is 500 units to 1500 units per person per annum, depending on the state you are living, then, and it is true for all the countries between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, then the power consumption, if you compare it with North America and Europe, the per capita power consumption is 15,000 to 30,000 per person per annum. So you see the gap. This gap we call it as energy poverty, urja garibi. So the experts in our conference said three things. One, 1.2 billion people across the world do not have access to electricity. Second, 3.2 billion people across the world do not have access to clean fuel to cook food. Third, energy poverty. And then our mission started, and then we started communicating with the world. And we founded this, what Anubhav was saying, that Dr. Gopal Energy Foundation was created to take this movement forward. And one small thing I wanted to add, we made it an annual conference now. So TILA International Conference on Energy is now annual conference, and we had first, second, third, fourth. In second conference onward, we decided that now we will discuss only the solutions, not the problem. Let us be part of solution, not the problem. So two things we decided: we will discuss solution. Secondly, we will blame no one, not the central government, state government or PSU or anybody. We have to take responsibility for ourselves and our society. So when we were discussing the solutions, one important solutions which came from the experts is that just like right to education is important, right to health is important, similarly right to energy is equally important. Therefore, the right to energy should also become part of all the constitutions of the world, and it should be included in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a basic fundamental right. So, Anubhav, if you are talking about the journey, I said I'll just tell a story and tell the journey, share the journey also. Please tell me.
Yeah, sir. Lovely story, sir. So, sir, why you left civil services was because we know that in civil services you were very well off and you had the opportunity to serve the nation from there as well. Then, what made you left civil services and start all these initiatives of Dr. Gopal Energy Foundation, Trans India Law Associates, and everything?
Absolutely. So I worked with Ministry of Food Processing Industry, Ministry of Agriculture, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I also worked with National Human Rights Commission. I worked with the Ministry of Agriculture, Department of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries, Ministry of Law, Justice and Company Affairs. I was blessed that I was very lucky that I was at the right place and right time and got right opportunities. So when the Chartered Accountants Amendment Act was being drafted, I drafted the first draft. When the Companies Act was being made, J.J. Irani Committee was constituted, and I was the secretary to the secretary actually. So Mr. Bandyopadhyay, the Secretary Ministry of Corporate Affairs, was the secretary to the J.J. Irani Committee, and since I had written books, so he said that you should write all the minutes. So I got that opportunity. Thirdly, the government of India, when it thought of creating an international body, intergovernmental body, so they asked that your help is required, and I was it was a humbling moment that I helped International Solar Alliance in all their regulations, and our firm, especially not me alone, the team helped the International Solar Alliance in creating all the regulations and implementing the entire treaty, and now it is a full-fledged UN body. So these, to answer your question in short, these were massive challenges, and I thought that massive being in the government and trying to resolve these challenges, it will be little difficult because you have to follow a lot of protocols. So that is one of the reasons that I resigned and I separated from the government and started all these initiatives.
So a lawyer turned into a philanthropist. So, sir, lovely story. So, sir, I have a fixed set of questions in my mind which I will be asking in a fixed order so that proper understanding of the topic can be developed and learnings from the session become more articulated and precise. So, having the privilege of being the host of the session, my first question would be, what are the different areas of work available to lawyers dealing with electricity law?
Yes. So that's an important, very important question, and it is a surprise. It was a surprise for us whenever we were looking for you associate advocates in our firm, and there was lack of knowledge on this area, and the reason was that the root cause of this was that in the law curriculum, Bar Council has not mandated Electricity Act as one of the subjects in the course of the law graduates and LLM. So it is not their mistake. So to mitigate this situation, what we did is we wrote to all the leading law schools across India and asked them to include electricity laws as one of the subjects. And 6 law colleges, including Nirma University, including National Law University, Nalsar, and several other universities also, they accepted our proposal. And when one vice chancellor said the academic council has approved it, now Electricity Act will be not a compulsory but an optional subject in the curriculum of law graduates. They called and said everything is done, Niranjan, but the challenge is we don't have faculty actually. So again the foundation came into operation and we created an online electricity laws course only for the professors actually. And we went and taught all the professors that so that they can teach the electricity laws to the students. This online course later on, because of regulatory commissions, there was a capacity building required, so it was opened for regulatory commission. So all the regulatory commission, whether it is Punjab Electricity Regulatory Commission, Delhi Electricity Regulatory Commission, Joint Electricity Regulatory Commission, they opted. Now what we have done, because of COVID situation, we have opened it for all the students also, that they can also take this course. So coming back to your question, there are immense opportunities in energy sector, especially power sector, electricity areas, and you can divide it into a few segments. So first segment is maybe because I am assuming that a lot of litigation lawyers are there. So first segment, if you want, Anubhav, I start with litigation practice in energy sector.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So in litigation practice, there are you can divide it into 4 areas actually. Electricity Act is a code in itself. So if you divide it in 4 areas, so first area is regulatory litigation. Second area is consumer litigation in electricity sector. Third area is civil litigation in energy sector. Fourth area is arbitration in energy sector. Fifth area is criminal law for energy sector. So I am just excluding arbitration for now, and I will talk about 4 litigation because they are pure litigation areas. Yeah. Firstly, in regulatory litigation, every state is mandated to have a state electricity regulatory commission. So in your respective state, in maybe most of the cases the capital city, so for example in Uttar Pradesh there will be Uttar Pradesh Electricity Regulatory Commission, Madhya Pradesh in Bhopal it will be Madhya Pradesh Electricity Regulatory Commission. Similarly, all the states across India will have a Electricity Regulatory Commission. All matters of electricity will go to these Electricity Regulatory Commission. As a lawyer, there is a lot of professional work for us. For example, if somebody wants to get a license for doing electricity business, whether it is distribution of electricity, transmission of electricity, trading of electricity, power exchanges, those licenses have to be provided by these electricity regulatory commissions. That is one aspect. Second aspect is if anybody determines tariff, tariff is determined on annual basis, it goes on. So electricity tariffs can be determined only by state electricity regulatory commissions. It depends on a lot of other factors. I am not going into the complexities. I am only saying what opportunity is available. One last thing I want
Yeah.
to add is independent regulatory commission is a concept which came from United States of America, and we have implemented that concept in the electricity sector. So we have two sets of regulators. One is Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, which has different powers. Then we have State Electricity Regulatory Commission, which has different powers. And the appeal from both Electricity Regulatory Commission goes to Appellate Tribunal of Electricity. So there is also opportunity, and appeal from Appellate Tribunal of Electricity directly goes to the Supreme Court. So all four levels, whatever level you are working, whether state level, central level, or Supreme Court level, you have opportunities. That is one aspect. Yes, Anubhav, you were saying something. Tell me.
Yeah. So, sir, so we have covered litigation till now. So, what
Yes.
is other work in like advisory, compliance work, or drafting work? Can you just explain a bit more on that spectrum?
Okay. So no, but you want me to complete, because there were four aspects of
Yeah, yeah,
litigation. You
yeah,
want me
yeah.
to complete that, or
After completing that, then
after
you can address. Yeah.
okay. So first area I have talked about regulatory electricity laws, where you will have, as a litigation lawyer, you will have opportunity to argue and pleadings and filing, whatever is the normal procedure of the tribunals or independent regulatory commission. You can do, and you can serve the power consumers there. Second aspect is what we say criminal law. So under the Electricity Act, see, biggest challenge in normal conditions what we say is AT&C losses. Specifically, आप जब मैं AT&C losses बोलूं तो आप समझ लेना theft. AT&C losses में जो maximum component होता है वो theft की वजह से बिजली की चोरी की वजह से challenge आता है. In at one time AT&C losses, yeah, theft in Delhi was so high that 50% of electricity was consumed in theft of electricity. Only 50% used to reach us. So what, and being a massive challenge, what the Electricity Act does is, it says that every district, or at least the state government, will establish special courts for electricity matters, electricity theft cases. So every state in India, in fact, in most of the state, every district in India has special courts, which are called special electricity courts. These special electricity courts are only mandated, and they only can take up matters of electricity theft, actually. So if you see, read the sections, if somebody is asking specific section, from section 135 to section 139, ये 5 सेक्शन आप पढ़ लेंगे, उसमें पूरा प्रोसीजर लिखा हुआ है थेफ्ट का. लेकिन इसमें एक चीज और ध्यान में रखने वाली है, दिस क्राइम इज ग्रेटर देन द नॉर्मल थेफ्ट क्राइम. In the sense, if somebody is involved, if accused is involved in theft of gold, and if the accused is involved in theft of electricity, he has more onerous task of proving that he is not. It's the reverse, actually. So if somebody is caught in theft of electricity, he has to prove to the court that he is not guilty. It is other way around in normal criminal cases. Till the time the person is not guilty, he is innocent. यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. यहाँ पे एविडेंस और सबको थोड़ा सा नीचे रखा गया है. इसमें अगर नीचे थोड़ा भी एविडेंस कर लिया या रेड मार ली और फोटोग्राफ्स ले लिए, so then the onus shifts. So the work of lawyer becomes very, very important in the criminal matters. In case after the criminal matter means the special courts decide the matter, then the appeal goes to High Court in a normal procedure, that is CRPC procedure. So then High Court and Supreme Court, whatever happens, this is a second. So first area I spoke about regulatory legal practice. Second, I am speaking about criminal practice in electricity matters. So there is a very good scope for criminal practice in electricity matters. And because all the DISCOMs would like to reduce, they will have massive targets for reducing AT&C losses. They will go ahead with lot of raids and other issues so that the losses are reduced. So second area is criminal practice. Now, we come to third area. Third area is civil. If you have a dispute about money with the discom and you want to resolve it, then there is a provision in Electricity Act itself. And the two sections which are important is section 126 and section 127. So what section 126 says, that every discom will create, establish, nominate a person who will be called assessing officer. Assessing officer, you can plead before assessing officer कि मेरा बिल ज्यादा आया है, कम आया है, मेरे ड्यूज ऐसे आ रहे हैं, जो भी आपकी इशू हैं, ठीक है. He has powers to decide it and close the matter. If you are not satisfied with what the assessing officer is a nominated person, statutory person, but he is an employee of that discom, so you don't trust him. Maybe if he is able to resolve, it is two ways actually. If he is officer of a discom, it is easier for him to understand and resolve it quickly actually. But if you are not satisfied, then there is a provision of appeal to appellate authority, where retired district court judge is sitting as an appellate authority under section 127. So section 127, you can go to the appellate authority in an appeal. Okay, so this is our civil matter. Now, three things we have discussed, civil matters we also. Fourth is consumer protection. How do we protect the interest of consumers in this case if they have any challenges? So there are 4-5 ways of protecting the consumers. आप चूज कर सकते हैं अपना कोर्ट कि आप कहां पे कंज्यूमर को प्रोटेक्ट करना चाहते हैं, पर ध्यान से चूज करिएगा, क्योंकि आप एक जगह जा रहे हैं तो फिर आप ऑल्टरनेटिव रेमेडी आप नहीं ले सकते हैं. तो मैं आपको 3-4 रास्ते बता रहा हूं जहां पे आप जा सकते हैं. फर्स्ट इज नॉर्मल कंज्यूमर कोर्ट्स में अलाउड है. सेक्शन 173 ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट सेज दैट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट इज एन एडिशन टू कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट. सो इसका मतलब ये है कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के जो भी इश्यूज हैं या जो भी मैटर्स हैं, आप सीधे कंज्यूमर कोर्ट में ले जा सकते हैं. अगर आपके पास कंज्यूमर कोर्ट है, इजीली एक्सेसिबल है, आप वहां पे प्रैक्टिस करते हैं, तो आपको नॉर्मल प्रोसीजर, एक फर्स्ट वे टू रिजॉल्व द इशू इज कि कंज्यूमर कोर्ट में आप ले जाइए. सेकेंड, ऐसा नहीं है कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट में और कोई प्रोविजन नहीं है, वहां पे कंज्यूमर ग्रीवियंस रिड्रेसल मैकेनिज्म बनाया गया है. सो एवरी discoms, every authority, electricity authority has to have consumer grievance redressal mechanism in place. इसको बोलते हैं CGRF. CGRF का फुल फॉर्म है कंज्यूमर ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल फोरम. कंज्यूमर जो आपका नॉर्मल कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट है, उस कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट में आपका एक लंबा चैनल है एक्चुअली, और भीड़ बहुत ज्यादा है. Your case will be lost somewhere and remedy थोड़ी स्लो मिल जाएगी आपको. लेकिन कंज्यूमर जो प्रोटेक्शन CGRF है, कंज्यूमर ग्रीवियंस रिड्रेसल फोरम, वहां पे उनके पास और कोई केसेस नहीं है, तो वो आपको हेयरिंग भी जल्दी देंगे, उसका रेजोल्यूशन भी जल्दी करेंगे, और वो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पावर सेक्टर के ही बंदे हैं, तो उनको समझाने में भी आपको आसानी होगी कि क्या है, उनको भी आपको समझाने में आसानी होगी. सो दिस फोरम इज अवेलेबल. अब अगर मान लीजिए कंज्यूमर ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल फोरम से आपको सेटिस्फेक्शन नहीं है, वो इंडिपेंडेंट बॉडी है, आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट के अंडर में स्टैट्यूटरी बॉडी है, इंडिपेंडेंट बॉडी है, इट इज नॉट अंडर डिस्कॉम और समवेयर एल्स. उसकी जो अपील है वो आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ओम्बड्समैन को कर सकते हैं. सो कंज्यूमर ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल फोरम से अपील जाएगी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ओम्बड्समैन को. इनको सबको मतलब I have given training to lot of people, electricity ombudsman and chairpersons, members in national. There are few, because you are discussing power sector, Anubhav, I'll say I'll take liberty to educate, share with all of you that Government of India has done established research center, state of art research centers in India, and a few of them are National Power Training Institute in Faridabad. Second is Central Board of Irrigation and Power, which has office in Gurugram and Delhi also. Then we have National Institute of Solar Energy. Then we have National Institute of Wind Energy. So they are doing marvelous work. But I am humbled and honored to be their expert, faculty for energy loss. So whenever senior people of power sector are there, even international, they give training to a lot of international power people also from SAR countries, especially USAID program, and there is a lot of interaction also. So I am a faculty also in that cases, and these are the normal questions they want to, because the power sector in India is mature. They want to understand all these things so that they can implement there in their respective countries. So let us come back to our areas of 4 areas which I have talked about in litigation practice. So fourth and final area of litigation practice is I have done, first is regulatory practice. Second I have done is consumer practice. Third is civil practice. And fourth kya tha bhai? Anubhav?
Criminal.
Criminal. Okay. So we were in now जो consumer को हम लोग discuss कर रहे थे, और consumer में भी 3-4 options हैं. तो first आपके पास normal consumer court है. सेकेंड आपके पास CGRF है, जहां पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ओम्बड्स में आप अपील फाइल कर सकते हैं. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ओम्बड्समैन से भी आप अगर सेटिस्फाइड नहीं है, तब आप यू कैन गो टू स्टेट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी रेगुलेटरी कमीशन एक्चुअली. ठीक है. इसके अलावा थर्ड एरिया कंज्यूमर में, सिर्फ कंज्यूमर की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग. जो लीगल सर्विसेज अथॉरिटीज एक्ट बना है, उसमें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के परमानेंट लोक अदालत बनाए जाते हैं. ठीक है. तो आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के लिए परमानेंट लोक अदालत में भी जाके उसको रिजॉल्व कर सकते हैं. पर एक चीज आप ध्यान रखिएगा, क्योंकि जब परमानेंट लोक अदालत में, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी परमानेंट लोक अदालत में आप जाते हैं, तो उसके बाद अपील का प्रोविजन नहीं है. आप देखो, रिट तो किसी भी चीज में फाइल कर सकते हैं, देयर इज नो, इट इज अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रेमेडी, बट द स्टैट्यूट और लॉ डज नॉट प्रोवाइड फॉर एनी अपील बिकॉज इट इज अ कंसेंट डिसीजन. सो व्हाटएवर इज डिसाइडेड इज फाइनल. सो बी वेरी केयरफुल. डोंट एक्सेप्ट कि क्लाइंट का जो गिल्ट है वो एक्सेप्ट मत करिए. वो बोलिए वो सेटल करना चाहता है, बस दैट्स इट. ही इज नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग हिज गिल्ट एक्चुअली. सो आपकी लीगल सर्विसेज अथॉरिटीज एक्ट में भी आपको एक रेमेडी अवेलेबल है, जहां पे आप जा सकते हैं. फिर आपको एक छोटी सी चीज मैं बताना चाहता हूं टू एंड दिस लिटिगेशन डिस्कशन, दैट नेशनल ह्यूमन राइट्स कमीशन एंड स्टेट ह्यूमन राइट्स कमीशन हैव स्मॉल पावर्स, वेस्टेड पावर्स है उनके पास थोड़े. अगर कोई इलेक्ट्रिक्यूशन से मरा है,
sir, there are people all across the India, so many of them can't understand Hindi. So if we can confine
okay, all right,
to English,
because generally what happens, I teach PSU people, so they said ki please speak bilingual, because they will so that everybody understand. No worries. So what there is one more option, National Human Rights Commission, and if somebody dies of electrocution. So what these commissions, if you file an application in these commissions, they give certain remedy to you. That is, it can be from 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs rupees depending on a lot of other factors. So you can get that small remedy, and then the state government is directed to give that interim relief to the person who is a victim actually. And thereafter you can take up the matter further. So Anubhav, it was little long, but then litigation practice is very important practice in energy law, so I took some time to
no sir, it's totally fine. Thank you so much for the detailed but still very articulated and precise answer. It was great. So sir, we were also coming on the other side of work, like everyone is not cut for litigation. So what are the other areas like compliance work, advisory work, and drafting work? If you can elaborate on that.
Yes. So the consultancy practice in energy sector is very, very deep, very, very wide. And let us start with contract management. The contracts of electricity sector are very complex and they are very important. If you see the contracts, firstly, power purchase agreement, you all must be aware of power purchase. You must have heard power purchase agreement actually. But this is not the only agreement available. So generally what we do is, whenever a power in our firm, the request comes ki please draft a power purchase agreement, we have a checklist of 74 items. So what we do is, one by one we see all the items. For example, jurisdiction, tariffs, and there are 74 checklists. And then we include one by one to draft the first draft of the power purchase agreement. So first important document which generally people, whenever they discuss power purchase agreement. But power purchase agreement is only, maybe 1% of the drafting and consultancy work in the energy sector. So there are a lot of collaboration agreements. There are a lot of O&M contracts. There are, I think there are around 50 plus contracts which are used in the entire life cycle of the energy project, from beginning of the energy project to end of the energy project, closure of the power plant, from starting of the power plant to closure of the power plant. There are around 50 contracts which have to be drafted. So this is also one of the very important areas. If somebody is good in drafting, if somebody has a knack of understanding details, going into details, if somebody wants to specialize in this, it's a specialized area. But then drafting is a very important aspect. And Anubhav, contract management is an area where people can devote time. Unfortunately, one small thing I want to caveat, I want to add actually. See, maximum power sector entities, earlier it was almost 100%, now it is 80-90%, are from PSUs and government sectors. They are owned by state governments or central government. So remember, lawyers get less opportunity to draft all these documents. They are standard documents. So one power purchase agreement will be released by Solar Energy Corporation of India, maybe drafted by Tila or somebody, and everybody has to replicate it. So what happens? And earlier it was more, you don't have a choice. It was like a standard form contract. Now, but it is rightly discussed in this forum. Now, since the privatization of the energy sector is going on, generation has been delicensed in the electricity. I will tell you one more important thing. Generation is a delicensed activity now.
Yeah.
That what does that mean is that if somebody comes to you and says that I want to start a power plant, what license it is required? Just say no license is required. Electricity Act has delicensed it. He says ki no, it is not a small power plant. It is 100 megawatts, 200 megawatts. You tell him even if it is 1000 megawatts, no license is required for establishing a power plant. But if you establish, but I am also adding, even if you establish any industry, you have to take land on lease. You have to purchase the land. You have to take water. You have to take a lot of other things, facilities that you have to do in power plant also. So other compliances are required to be done.
Yeah.
But in this D-license, so if solar plant, if somebody is establishing gas-based plant or thermal power plant, just say D-license. But there is two exceptions. One is nuclear power plant. It is not governed by Electricity Act. It is governed by Atomic Energy Act. Hence, nobody can establish a nuclear power plant. Only and only central government establish. Second exception is, it is a partial exception, hydro power plant. So if somebody is establishing a hydro power plant, then it has to take additional permission from central electricity authorities, and there also you all can help actually. So when DPRs are drafted, and then the permission has to be taken by various. Remember, when hydropower plant is established, 27 permissions from the state government are required, and 10 permissions from the central government approvals are required. And that is a very good area of practice. So if you can list out 27 approvals and compliances required by hydropower plant, and 10 approvals required from central government by hydropower plant, maybe you can tell them that yes, you are ready to help the sector. So Anubhav, yes, please go ahead.
No, sir. You were giving a very amazing answer. Is there anything left, or should I move on to the next
Yes,
question?
lot of things are left, but then but if you have any specific question, whatever the viewers want to ask me, I'll be happy, because I can go on for 3-4 days. I give lectures to all the professors and energy experts. So I have I have written a book on Electricity Act. So if I start teaching, I think we have limited time. So I want to take only questions which you want to ask or the participants want to ask.
Okay, sir. Okay, so sir, very ideally said. Just to to finalize the last answer you were giving, can you tell us 10 to 12 contracts which energy lawyer has to frequently draft?
Okay.
Any legal
So,
document?
all right, all right. So legal documents, see, normal industry documents all are there. So for example, if any power plant is established, obviously it will have everything, whether it is employment contract, whether it is labor related contract, whether it is land related contract, lease related contracts. But few contracts, 10 I don't know, but a few contracts which are very important, that I will tell you. See, one is land acquisition and land contracts become very important now after renewable energy coming into play. Why? The reason is, I'll give you the reason why it becomes important. Firstly, when a thermal power plant is established, the land requirement is only 1 acre to 1.2 acres per megawatt of the power plant. But if the solar plant is established, then you require 5 acres to 9 acres to install a 1 megawatt capacity. So the size of the land required has increased 5 to 6 fold, or 5 to 9 fold. So then the important resource becomes land. So first things, whenever the power, for example, recently we have acquired 700 acres in Telangana. Our firm has acquired for Suzlon, and 1,700 acres we have acquired from Adani for Karnataka region. So all the documentation and agreements, they are not single agreements. There are a lot of multiple agreements. So first MOU is signed, then lease agreement is signed, then collaboration agreement is signed, then things. So first aspect is land agreements for power plants, especially renewable energy plants, become very important. Second, power purchase agreement, as I have discussed earlier, it becomes very important because the tariffs are mentioned in this document, and on the basis of those documents, banks will do funding for the power sector. So if 30% the investor is investing, 70% may be coming from a power finance corporation or Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency or any other rural electrification corporation or any other entity which is funding this. So now the funding documentation also becomes very important. Finance. So first is land documentation becomes important, and if you say one document, it will not be appropriate for me to Anubhav say this specific document. So there is a cluster of documents. So land documentation will be important, first level. Second is that to determine tariff, power purchase agreement becomes very important. Third level, finance documentation because these are specialized finance document with the specialized agencies. It is like it is mainly PSUs, but then sometimes private banks also fund some of the documents.
Yeah.
So funding documents become important. After let us assume power plant is operational. So then O&M contracts, operations and maintenance contracts also become important because you have to take the power plant for maybe 25 years. So this has to be. Fourthly, insurance is very important. So because these are very large entities, insurance companies negotiate insurance documents. So those insurance documentation also you have to see. So these are the 4 or 5 important areas where negotiation, and this one more thing is important. Most of the power plants are in collaboration actually. So there is sometimes it is a investment from a foreign entity, or it is 2, 3, 4 people are working together. So the understanding between these entities, that is collaboration agreement, becomes very important. And for collaboration also there are a lot of sets of documents which are required. Yes, Anubhav, go ahead. Hope
Yeah.
I have answered the question.
Yeah, sir, quite well. You are on fire. Amazing answer. Very detailed, but still precise. Yeah. So, sir, can you just briefly, also address the scope of advisory work and compliance work in the sector of energy, not particularly to electricity, but to overall energy sector?
Okay. Compliance is a very important thing. One compliances set of compliances falls from regulatory commissions itself. So all the discoms have to file annual revenue requirement to the their respective regulatory commissions. Depending on the annual revenue requirement from these regulatory commissions, the tariff of all the consumers are determined. So as a lawyers, we always have a duty to compile those annual revenue requirements from the side of discom and submit it to the regulatory commission so that annually, so that the appropriate tariffs are available. Secondly, even if generating companies, there are two things. One is determination of tariff. Second is adoption of tariff. So the regulatory commission has to do two things. One is either he will determine the tariff or he will adopt the tariff. So if the generating company wants to determine the tariff, then all the documentation from the side of generating companies has to be submitted to Electricity Regulatory Commission asking them to determine the tariff. However, in case there was open bidding and the tariff has come out in open bidding, reverse auction, after reverse auction the tariff has come out, then there will be no determination, no details will be filed. Then you have to inform the regulatory commission that this tariff has been determined by open bidding process. Hence, the regulatory commission will adopt it actually. So there are two things. And going besides this, like, okay, there are a lot of approvals, lot of compliances, lot of day-to-day activities which have to be done by with regulatory commission. But then I want to, because Anubhav has asked the compliances portion, so I want to be little detailed in this. Every entity, whether it is generation, okay, I will say, I'll say you have a hand 5, 5. Okay. Power sector comprises of 5 things. One is generation. Second is transmission. Third is distribution. Fourth is trading of electricity. Fifth is supply of electricity. When these 5 things combine together, it becomes power sector. Okay. So when you are advising the particular sector, for example, you are advising a generation sector. So just divide it. Solar, hydro, wind, renewable energy, bioenergy, waste to energy. Okay. Then you take one portion. For example, you took hydro. So you say list out the compliances required. So because our firm has done it frequently, so 27 compliances are required for hydro sector for state government. Those compliances may include forest clearance. Those compliance may include environment clearance. Those explosives, because when you construct a power plant, you have to explode, when you construct a dam, you have to explode a lot of material. So explosives approval is required. Then they all, similarly, you say, okay, 10 approvals from central government, 1 is required from Central Electricity Authority, 1 is required for Ministry of Water, 1 is required. And then one by one, you can help the company in this compliance. Similarly, what you can do same thing for solar sector. You can do same thing for bioenergy sector. They will require approval from different ministries actually. So for example, bioenergy, if somebody is producing electricity from sugarcane, so he has to go to Ministry of Agriculture, some compliances, not all compliances. And if you are working in thermal power plant, so you have to go to Ministry of Power. If you are working in renewable energy power plant, then you have to go to MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So it depends from different, generation. Similarly, transmission, similarly, distribution, similarly, trading. So it is just an example, Anubhav.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, sir. So we got the drift in general, but if we have to understand every technicality, then we have to take the course. So I think this suffices the purpose of the session. So this brings me to my next question, sir. Which organizations are the top employers of electricity lawyers, and on an average, how much a lawyer in these areas earn along with the level of seniority they gain?
Yes. So, Anubhav, no formal study has been done, in this sector that lawyers in a particular sector, how much they earn. But then one, thumb rule I can tell you. If you see, let us see IT, what it is thumb rule. I may be correct or maybe partially correct. If you see IT sector and you see the fees of the law officer with what he is getting in IT sector, if you see food processing industry and you compare the salary the law officer working in food processing industry, and then you compare it with the power sector and the salary he is drawing, it is 20 to 40% time more than these sectors. IT sector is a very huge sector, very powerful sector. But then the law officer working in power sector is getting 30% salary more than the IT law. He is equally qualified. Okay. But this is what I have experienced actually. But then, if you ask, people, law officers, you just do one small thing. Similar position, maybe manager legal in a power company and manager legal in IT company. You must be having a lot of friends actually, and ask them actually and compare, and also tell me what was the answer actually, what was the result.
Sure.
Okay, so they obviously what I am absolutely clear. If somebody is working in the energy industry, he will get better remuneration for the hard work which he is putting in. But obviously, you should remember, Anubhav, one more thing, that you have to get into the details. You have to work little harder actually, and the subject is little complex than normal laws which we practice actually. Yes, Anubhav.
Okay, sir. Great answer, sir. Just for the sake of articulating the learnings, can you tell us five, six organizations who employ electricity lawyers very extensively?
Yeah. So see, number one, lot of because 80 to 90% are, see, there is one challenge actually. Anubhav, 80 to 90% of the power sector, energy sector is PSUs actually, Government of India entities.
Yeah.
So you all have to, if you want, number one, you have to be a law graduate with first class marks. Then only you can appear in their written examination. And once you qualify that written examination of the PSUs, then you are appointed as a law officer, and continuously the vacancies are coming. Always I see lot of even WhatsApp messages. I see people forwarding the vacancies in PSUs. You can also take this opportunity to your team as you can forward the vacancies of PSUs. But then remember, the competition is less there. If you as an engineer you are applying in a PSU, and as a lawyer you are applying in a PSU, your chances of getting into the PSUs are more than engineer. So this is a good opportunity that you can do. But nevertheless, but one positive thing has happened, that because of solarization of the world, lot of solar companies and hydro companies, energy companies have entered Indian market. Those are very, very wonderful opportunities available to you, and the salaries in these sectors are also very good, because I have seen 2-3 of our students of online electricity laws course, when they communicated and they said ki, sir, we have got the opportunity because we were being asked the policy question, and because we did this course, we understood the nuances and we were able to, in the interview, we fared very well actually, and they are getting good salaries. So this 10%, 15% people, companies which are working in energy sector, they are also good. You can directly apply to them, and they are always in lookout of the lawyers who have expertise in energy laws. In fact, they sometimes they just message me that we require law graduates in this area. Yes, Anupam.
Great answer. So, sir, or name of the organizations.
Okay. So
PSUs.
name. So we start from, if generating company, then it is the National Thermal Power Corporation, Hydro, NHPC, National Hydro Power Corporation, Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam, Uttarakhand Jal Vidyut Nigam, and if you say generation in private sector, then Adani Renewable, Suzlon Renewable, and Eden French company has also entered, Eden Renewables. There are a lot many. It is around Anubhav. Naming the companies will be very long drawn task, because there are 500 companies.
Only top 10. Only top 10. The tier 1 of energy sector.
Okay, okay. So tier one may, as I have said that NTPC, NHPC, PGCIL, Power Grid Corporation of India Limited, and these are tier one PSUs in power sector. And if so, every state has a transmission company, Transco, with it's a different independent entity. So if you go to Uttarakhand, it is Uttarakhand Transmission Corporation, UP Transmission Corporation, Kerala Transmission Corporation. So one entity is a transmission, which is called state transmission utility. So this is one every state will have.
Yeah.
Second is generating companies. Few governments have divided it into. So there will be a hydro generating companies, renewable generating companies, and this. So these are generating then discoms. Few states have one discom, but then in some cases there are 3-4 discoms. The areas have been divided into distribution companies in these states. So state wise we have distribution companies available. Besides these plants, now a lot of trading companies have come into the power sector. So power trading corporation and private sector trading companies are also there. Around 50 odd trading companies are there. So you can look it into the website of CERC, the companies which have got trading licenses. Besides these generation, transmission, distribution and trading companies, there are financial institutions which specifically fund the energy sector, just like Power Finance Corporation, Rural Electrification Corporation, IREDA, Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency. Recently, Government of India also established Solar Energy Corporation of India, SECI. So there are requirements of law officers over there also. So there also you can take it forward. So okay,
amazing, sir. Very detailed, and as I always say, now we have information what to aim for. So that answer was amazing, sir. Thank you so much for it. Your the session is going quite well. So, sir, this brings me to a next question. You are running your own law firm. You have also worked for government. You have worked for many PSUs and international forums. So, what are the skills required to excel in the area of energy sectors? And yeah, first address the skill part, then we will move on to.
So, and you are talking about energy laws?
Energy sector. Energy sector and of legal skills required to succeed in energy.
That's a very important question. That is very, very important. It is not that only knowledge of Electricity Act will be helpful. There are 5-6 important legal areas where these are very, very important. Number one is energy arbitration is very important. So arbitration law, if you are well versed in arbitration law, that will be a plus. In fact, I give 5+ to person who will have knowledge in arbitration. Energy arbitration is the most lucrative sector to work in. And secondly, if you see the volume of cases or the amount involved in energy arbitration, it is mind-boggling. So one PSU, I'll give you example. National Hydropower Corporation alone has 8,000 crore plus of value of worth hidden in arbitration matter. Okay, so you imagine what kind of lawyers from both the sides will be required to resolve this. And it is, I am talking about only one company. So if you take all, there is no formal study. I am not aware of any formal study where it has been calculated that what is the total matters pending in the arbitration, but it is huge, humongous. It is so, sometimes it is unimaginable. So one area of practice is energy arbitration, if you can do. So second, contract management. So if you are good in contract act, please be happy. Contracts is a very, very important area, and these contracts are very high value contracts. No risk can be taken. No, you have to be very particular, and every word counts. You have to be very meticulous. So your knowledge of English and contract becomes very important. So first area is energy arbitration. Second area of importance is energy contract. See, I am talking, you please take two things together. Electricity Act and Arbitration Act. Electricity Act and Contract Act. So this, you just assume, when I say this, you just assume that Electricity Act is there. But in addition to that, you have to have knowledge of this sector. So second area is contract management, which becomes very. These are the two, I think so, frontline area. But then third area, now international law is becoming very important. You'll see, because of COVID-19, there were a lot of challenges. Now it is not a national issue. Energy sector is not a national issue. Cross-border transactions are, most of the transactions are cross-border transactions. So I'll give you just example. So for example, solar cell is manufactured in China. Then you will see the panel is being manufactured in Malaysia. Third, you will see the project site is in India. Fourth, you will see the investment is coming from European Union. Fifth, you will see that power is being exported to Bangladesh. So if you see, the 5 countries have been involved in this single transaction. So cross-border transactions and knowledge of international law. So international energy laws become very important. So if you have knowledge of public international law and private international law and reciprocating arrangement between the country, you know the bilateral treaties between 2 countries, that will be super. So with coming of International Solar Alliance and IRENA, Indian International Renewable Energy Development Agency, in the headquarters in Abu Dhabi, then Green Energy Forum, the headquarters in Seoul. So these international energy laws. So third area. So first area I said energy arbitration. Second area is energy contracts. Third is international energy laws. So if you are good in international law, then also it is good, and you can see through all the transactions go through smoothly before all the investments in India or outside India happens effectively. So these are the 3 major areas which are cross-functional actually, and which becomes important. And but obviously all the other laws are also important. But I think hope Anubhav, this suffices the answer. Yes.
Right. Yes, sir. Totally. Absolutely. So, sir, great. So this brings me to my next question. What kind of background helps in making a career in electricity? Like, is there any, do someone needs to be from science background in order to excel in this niche? Or like, is there any bias towards commerce background? Yeah, this is the question.
Okay. Uh, that's a
The
difficult
background.
question actually, but I will answer it in a different way. So a lot of experts are working with us in Tila actually, and the best thing what I understand is no specific background is required actually. So even if you are a normal graduate, whether it is BA, whether it is BCom, whether it is BBA, whether it is whether you are engineer, it hardly matters actually. You have to work, you have to understand the sector dedicatedly as a passion. So there is no bar on to you, or no favoritism to any particular person. So even IT engineer or a BA or a BCom, or they are all equal to us, and they have been all performing equally well. So I don't think so. I have not seen that kind of thing, but you can say if somebody is the engineer in electrical laws, he may have a small, very small advantage, that he will understand the Central Electricity Authority regulations. Only that advantage he has. Otherwise, I don't see other advantages.
Okay, sir. Great.
Especially law.
Okay. All right. So, sir, now we have got a clear picture of everything. So you also mentioned that there are specific financial institutions which lend only to the energy companies. So
Correct.
can you explain us how energy sector links with other industries like finance, technology, insurance, and what are the implications of this linkage for lawyers, and where they can take advantage of these links?
Okay, that's a wonderful question, and especially this is a good question in cyber security aspects. So what is happening is now the power sector is becoming online activity. So maybe if you go in a, I have seen a power plant even 15 years back, NTPC power plant Korba. It was a huge power plant with 1000 acres of land, more than that I suppose. Only 9 people were running the entire power plant. Just imagine 1000 megawatts of electricity being generated for maybe it will cover one small state, the entire capacity one that power plant can give. And only 9 engineers. They had employees more than 500, but they were all at home. They were all on call actually. So if there is one, there was one massive room, and and I am talking about 15 years back actually. Not I have not visited recently, and they used to know everything. So cyber security and online systems are developing very very fast. In future, if you physically visit a solar power plant, you will see only nobody there. Okay, because it will be all managed from a headquarters in Bangalore or Delhi or any other places, informing state load dispatch center and national load dispatch center, or communicating with the authorities or power exchanges. So IT interaction with IT becomes very very important. So information technology guys have a very very big role to play. And recent example is in Ukraine, the entire power sector was hacked by a hacker. So the government did not have control to operate a power system in Ukraine for some time. This was a very massive issue. So cyber security laws and cyber lawyers are not laws, sorry, IT experts are working in this. They will be required to work in this area. And especially one more thing, lot of innovative innovations are going on in the power sector. And because of these innovations, lot of patents has to be filed. So IPR lawyers who are engineers or who are patent expert attorneys, they can look up for opportunities in patent filing in energy sector, and this is all applied knowledge. So these are the two things which come to my mind actually.
Okay, sir. So great.
Yes.
So, sir, it's been almost 25 years you are running your own law firm, right?
No, our firm is there since 1984.
84.
Okay. I joined in 2014. My father and they started it in 1984, and I am there in the firm from 2014. I resigned from Government of India. I was legal advisor to Government of India actually.
Okay. So, sir, now you have a teams of lawyers working under you. You have offices across the globe. So, sir, what are the some common workplace challenges young lawyers face while working in energy laws? If you can illustrate a bit on that.
One
Common
is
workplace challenges.
okay, workplace. See, one important challenge which I see that they need to develop understanding on Electricity Act 2003, which is very, very important, very, very crucial. So sometimes I have seen that they have expertise in cyber laws, they have expertise in IPR, they have expertise in arbitration laws, they have, but then they are unable to understand the sector. So to advise the sector, Electricity Act is a core act which is very, very important, very, very essential. And it is important that they go through it, once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, whatever n number of times which they can, work. That will be helpful for them during the process of interview also, and thereafter also. Number one. Secondly, what I think is the IT computers knowledge is very very important. Thirdly, unfortunately, in India, in the constitution, it is provided that the English will be the language for High Court and Supreme Court and the tribunal. So English language gains very very importance. It is unfortunate, but then local language or Hindi will not work actually. It will be very difficult. You may be patriotic. You may use Hindi in your home and or maybe outside, but in the courts or in the documents, it is unfortunate. I cannot do anything about it. It is like so. English language, IT skills, and Electricity Act. 3 things if they can cater to, And these are the three challenges, associates and team members face while they are in the firm, actually.
Yeah. So quite well. Also, there can be coping up with working hours, not seeking timeline from seniors, not informing the uh, partners and other works about the achievements they have, the progress they have made in the work allotted to them. These are also some sort of challenges, because when someone enters into a law firm, they are not habitual of working for 20-22 hours and over delivering to clients and seniors in order to distinguish themselves in that level. So that can be also a challenge, I think so, because when I was
Yeah,
interning under you, working hours were very rigorous, but I still enjoyed because it was so much fun and I was getting very good guidance. So
correct. So three things when we we hire a person, there are three things which we see: attitude, skills, and knowledge. So these are the three qualities which are required. And the most important quality in the sequence is not knowledge or skills. The most important quality is attitude. That whether the person is ready to learn, whether he's looking forward to work in this area. So
mm,
Anubhav, it becomes very important that you should be prepared in your mind that I want to work in this sector. You should be prepared that it is not a 8 hours, 10 hours, especially law firm. It is, in fact, you are saying 22 hours. I think it is 24 hours job. You are professional, 24 into 7. So if in the night, 2 o'clock, if the client calls you that I have a difficulty in a police station, you have to pick up his call. You have to tell him that, okay, don't worry, tomorrow morning, first thing I will take care of it. But then you have to be with your client across all the times, and not only 2 o'clock. See, the world is round. So when you are, you have a daytime, somebody is having night time. And
yeah.
if you have night time in India, then somebody else. So if you are talking about to your global partners in Australia and Sydney, or you're talking to your global partner in Los Angeles, so you have to adjust your time accordingly. And if they have an important meeting, board meeting, and they are inviting you as a legal advisor for attending board meeting, obviously you have to wake up and advise appropriately. So when you enter the profession, you should be, when you become a lawyer for 24 into 7, and don't. Today is Sunday, and
Exactly.
I appreciate everyone, all of your team members. I don't know how many, but I see a lot of people joining this webinar.
Yeah, they
So
are rigorously asking questions. They are very actively participating. I'm getting many questions on a private chat that ask this. And so people are really enjoying,
in
actually.
fact, Anubhav, if in future you can divide it into few, because this was a general discussion actually.
Yeah.
Okay, general understanding. If you
Mm.
speak about energy arbitration, one session is IPR in energy sector. A lot of students I have seen, they are very enthusiastic about IPR. So
Exactly.
IPR in energy sector, then contracts, energy contracts, energy international law, because a lot of people
Yeah.
want to understand what is International Solar Alliance, what are its powers, why it has been established, what is the impact on us actually, and what is the opportunity for us. So maybe 5-6 important topics which will be useful academically also, which will be useful in the profession also. And maybe in future, you and your team is doing, I want to appreciate that, Anubhav, you and your team Law Sikho is doing super work, brilliant work in connecting experts with the professionals, and taking the dialogue. And this will, I understand, this kind of work will help India to grow and become a developed country in future. So I thank you personally for this. You can also take these additional subjects also in future.
Pleasure is all mine. You also have our gratitude that on this Sunday morning, and especially a person with as high designation as yours and having so much responsibilities, is spending so much time and going out of his way to teach us so many things. So thank you so much to you too, sir.
Thank you, bhai. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So, sir, coming to the next question, what is the scope of independent practice in this field? So, uh, we know that you are running your own law firm, though it was not founded by you originally, but you are the one who actually took it to these great heights and expanded it to international level.
It
So,
is
what
it
is
is
this?
teamwork. See, Anubhav, I thank all the 10,786 team members across the world. So it is not because of me. It is the work of all the global partners, all the associates across India, all the experts. So Tila is creation of everyone actually, and I am only the face of the firm. So thank you so much, Anupam.
Yeah. So what is the scope of independent practice in the field of energy laws?
Yes, absolutely. So, as I said, that litigation is a very important area where independent practice can be easily done actually. So, whether you are protecting a consumer, so those options are available to protect the consumer. Secondly, whether it is consumer code, whether it is the consumer grievance redressal mechanism, whether it is electricity ombudsman, whether it is 126, that is assessing officer, appellate authority, or even going to regulatory commission with these challenges. This is one area, litigation area, which is important where you can practice. For complex contract management, it is always the companies will prefer a law firm or a team of individual practices. So if you can join hands with your colleagues, 2, 3, 4, team members, advocates who are all good in contract drafting, maybe then you can offer your services to PSU or a private entity that you are ready to do contract management. But as of now, as an individual, if somebody is practicing, then one area is litigation practice will be very, very fruitful to that person, and has a potential to give good revenues throughout his life actually.
Okay. So, great answer. Though I'm very satisfied with your answer, can you just address, are there any pitfalls one has to look for while establishing his independent practice in this niche?
You are talking about individual. Okay, you are talking about this sector or
Yeah, energy
in
laws,
general.
energy laws, energy laws.
Okay, so to see, some of the sectors in the legal industry have become very, very common in the sense. So if somebody says IPR lawyer, everybody understands it actually. If you say I am civil recovery lawyer, everybody understands. If you say criminal lawyer, everybody understands. But then if you are a energy sector lawyer or energy specialist, you have to educate. This one challenge in the practice in energy sector is that you have to educate everyone that you have taken up these cases and you are practicing, so that your friends, family members, clients, they know that
Networking.
you are that networking. Yes, perfectly well said. So networking is required. So one small challenge is that networking is required. Secondly, second challenge which I see is that in the Constitution of India, electricity is a concurrent subject. What does this mean? This means that the central government and state government both have powers to legislate on electricity laws. Okay. What happens in this? If both have powers to legislate in electricity laws, then there is a issue. Every time there is a change and continuously influx of new policies, new laws. So you have to be always updated and educated about what is happening in the sector. So for example, I will tell you, uh, central government has enacted Electricity Act. 16 state governments have also enacted Electricity Act. Both are valid. Only doctrine of eclipse and doctrine of harmonious construction has to be applied. So what happens if you are working, let us assume you are practicing in Delhi. So Delhi Electricity Reforms Act 2000 and Electricity Act 2003 both have to be kept together and both have to be applied. So you have to study double actually, number one. Second is, if you see policies, solar policies are made by all the state governments. So in every state you have to, if whatever state you are practicing, so if you are practicing in Karnataka, you have to study the solar policy of Karnataka actually. Okay. Third thing, because it is a concurrent subject, that is why we require two regulators also. So state regulator is also there, central regulator is also there. So if you are practicing in some venue, so if you are practicing in, let us assume, Odisha. So Odisha Electricity Regulatory Commission, if it is making some regulations, you have to be updated by that regulation. So one important aspect, a challenge is that you have to continuously, study the sector. And number one, whatever are the developments in the sector, you be updated. So now the government is coming out that for recovery of dues, from the discoms, they will establish a tribunal where there will be Electricity Act will be amended. So original jurisdiction will be there. So if somebody has uh, any recovery to be made, directly they don't have to follow a protocol. Directly they can go to the tribunal and get the recovery proceedings filed. So these are the challenges which person should number one, which you have rightly said, that you have to educate everyone that you are practicing in energy sector. Second is you have to keep yourself updated about legal development, because being a concurrent subject, all the 28 states will legislate on this issue and the central government will also legislate on this issue. So hope I have answered the question.
Yes, quite well. Amazing answer, sir. So as we are running short on time, I will have to bit hurry. I have only two questions left with me. Then we will open the forum for attendees to ask a question. So first one being, what changes do you anticipate in the industry of energy laws in the nearby future, like in 5 to 7 years from now?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. See, number one, I am anticipating huge privatization actually. And now government is not investing a lot of funds in energy sector. So private parties will come up to invest in energy sector. So what will happen? There will be little balance. So as of now, we have 10% of the energy companies which are private sector and 90% of the PSUs. Slowly, this balance in next 5 to 10 years is shifting to private sector. So starting with generation, now private sector has jumped into transmission. So if you see, Tata Power has established a transmission line from Tala. Tala is in Bhutan. From Bhutan to Dadri. Dadri is near. It is in UP, Noida, but it is near Delhi NCR. So that transmission line has come up. Similarly, other people will also go into transmission. Thirdly, what is happening now? Villages are starting distributing electricity in themselves. So slowly, distribution, small distribution, micro distribution companies will come up, which will, so it will become 30, 40, 50% more private players. Once this starts happening, automatically the demand for the energy lawyers will increase, 4, 5, 10 folds. Reason being because they all will require legal services. So I see huge opportunity for energy lawyers to excel, and the requirement will increase, manifold in coming 4, 5, 10 years.
Okay, sir. Sir, any tips you would like to give to our attendees and our learners to prepare for these challenges, prepare for these changes and developments, plausible developments you have just mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. So if possible, please read at least one journal regarding power sector, so that you are updated about what is happening in the power sector and what are the opportunities available. Secondly, as a lawyer also, it is important that we keep our networks effective. So as you have rightly said, that find out new ways of networking, whether it is social media or any sector. Third important, it's my personal request, and through your forum I want to share this request. Please remember that the biggest challenge in the world in energy sector is that 1.2 billion people across the world do not have access to electricity. 3.2 billion people across the world do not have access to clean fuel to cook food. There is energy poverty in India. So as a human being, it is our duty to help to provide access of energy, however poor he may be, access of energy to every person on earth. Minimum amount of energy should be available to everyone. So as a lawyer or as a professional, you all should support all the causes of access to energy to all persons in the world. So please support right to energy movement. And I will, one positive thing I will say, recently the chief minister of Sikkim invited me. He said, I want to be the first state to introduce a right to electricity act. So maybe our firm, we will draft a right to electricity act to be implemented in Sikkim. You can tell your state governments to have similar kind of rights. So sometimes people say me, if we give access to electricity to everyone, and why should we waste the taxpayers' money? So I have small answers for everyone. One thing is that अगर दिल्ली में if let us assume a situation in Delhi, if everyone starts using cow dung cakes and wood to prepare food in all the colonies, what will happen to the pollution? As in, we are facing a lot of climate change issue. What will happen to the climate change issue? So giving a small amount of energy, even if required free of cost, is an advantage for everyone actually. So right to energy is not only helping the poor, it is helping the poor, but it is helping to all of us actually, including the taxpayers. So it should become the fundamental right. Okay, and Anubhav, thank you. Yes, tell me.
No, sir, it was amazing answer. We were really enjoying it.
Mhm.
You are on fire, sir. Phenomenal. I have one last question I have for sir. Then at my learners, sir, is all yours. How lawyers can make the best use out of this opportunity of quarantine for their professional growth, for their networking perspective, for from the perspective of building their online profile.
I think Anubhav, you are doing a good job. I think this is the question you should answer actually, and you are organizing this webinar and a similar online course. Maybe you can do online courses and read and spend time in studying. So I think social media. If anyone has any challenges in social media and networking and how to utilize their free time, I think Anubhav is a better person.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, what sir trying to highlight is, in order to build an online profile, what you can always keep the value for your viewers in the center. So like start writing blogs which solve the daily life problem of people, start making YouTube videos, start posting on LinkedIn which about the recent issues and what are your opinions on it, or start briefing the judgments. These things really help. And from and when you started doing all these things, people really start taking your profile seriously. Your network might be not that big as the people who always tweet on spicy hot things like Bollywood celebrities, but it will be much more valuable and uh, much more
Yes,
valuable
correct.
and
I agree. It will be more meaningful actually, meaningful to you
precisely.
also, and meaningful to for the society also. And one more to add to what Anubhav is saying. Applied knowledge is better than all the intellectual abilities you have. So always focus on applied knowledge.
Yes.
Applied means it should be useful to somebody. So if you can post whatever you are posting, if you can post things which are useful. So if you can post something, how to resolve your consumer grievance, how to such kind of questions
How to
which
file
can
a
be used.
complaint to banking ombudsman, how to file a complaint to
Yeah,
electricity ombudsman, how to complain for a
absolutely.
for if your electricity bill has been overly charged. These things.
How to defend a criminal case with respect to theft of electricity. Some
Precisely.
things like these, if you can post, that will be very useful to your prospective clients also, and they may get directly in touch with you also.
Yeah. Sir, I'm working with Losico. I have seen people writing on sports law and getting call from managing partners and partners to come their intern with us, and these people have actually scored a PPO in those organizations. So these things do make a difference, unlike many other vain efforts like doing a moot court or uh, attending MUNs and conferences. These things create much more fathomable and tangible results. So with this, we are running out of time. So I'm now opening the forum to attendees to ask the question. So guys, now you can unmute yourself. Yeah, shoot.
Hey, hi Raj, this is Ravi Matthew
Hello.
here.
Yes,
I've
yes,
been
Ravi,
implementing,
continue.
yeah, I've implemented compliance, regulatory compliance for India largest power sectors like Adani Power, Reliance, then even your GMR. So covering the renewable as well as the non-renewable power domain. So as a lawyer, what I found is it is interesting, but the sector is again highly regulated. I think kudos to you to work in such a highly regulated sector, and I understand the pressure you will have. But what I would also see is there are a lot of techno-legal requirement in this particular domain, right? Because of which I was not able to specialize it further. So where could I get a help of when it comes to techno legal requirements? Like there are interconnection tariffs, there are even the agreements are highly techno legal, right? So where can I get a guidance to understand those technical elements?
Oh, that's wonderful question, Ravi. Ravi, you are a lawyer or an engineer?
No, no, I'm a lawyer. I implement compliance solutions for India's largest corporate. I happen to work
Okay.
for India's largest power plant in India, Sasan Power Plant,
Okay,
Reliance.
absolutely. No, we have done a lot of work for Adani and Reliance also, but no
Okay.
worry. See, it is best, Ravi. See, if you can collaborate with an engineer, and if possible, engineer who has worked in tariff determination in any of the state electricity regulatory commission or CERC, or if you can tie up with somebody who has worked in CEA, especially Central Electricity Authority, or retired person. So I think that combination will be very good for you as well. And both of you maybe can jointly work, or that you can build up a team if you have that kind of requirement. And if you want, I will be happy to recommend 4 or 5 people, and you can discuss with them and take it forward. Yes,
Sure.
yes.
Thanks.
Lenovo, please go on. Lenovo, do you have a question? No. So people, next question.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, loud and clear.
Hi. So, Raviji, hello.
Yeah. Please go on.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent webinar. So, basically, my question was now
Please
there are.
speak. Please speak loudly.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you now. Correct.
Okay. Sir, my question is very simple. Now we see renewable energies are saying that there is lot of additional power available, and now tariff rates are going to be going on the unsustainable prices like 2.34 or whatever. So their survivals are getting very, very problematic. And also we have seen that in energy sector, all the work is basically taken by big law firms. There are 2 3 big law firms. They have a clout, and whatever big clients are there, they try and get they are actually governing the market. So what is your take? So where a smaller lawyer or a mid-sized law firm can survive?
Very good question.
However big the law firm may be, but then when the person has to appear in Uttar Pradesh Electricity Regulatory Commission, or he has to appear in Supreme Court, or an advocate has to be appear in any of the courts, that law firm has to hire a local advocate actually. So even if whatever may be the size of the law firm, even if my example, if I can take, we ask the client that which senior advocate you want for a high court or Supreme Court if it is a very big matter. And if it is not a big matter, then we say, okay, we are this associate, yeah, this advocate will appear on our behalf. So I think so. If somebody is doing litigation practice, his practice does not get affected. Only he has to do what has been rightly discussed, that he has to do some networking and say, okay, I am in Raipur and I am well versed with, I am ready to work in Chhattisgarh Electricity Regulatory Commission or Electricity Ombudsman, and he will get this kind of work. And when you do, remember, the litigation lawyers are actual tigers. They have to study, you maybe study a lot, because once a case comes to in their hand, they have to see it 360 degrees. So they will know all the contracts. In fact, they will be interpreting the contracts for the client. So I don't know whether I have answered your question.
So
but
you have answered, sir. You have done one of the best webinars. I'm really grateful that Losico has arranged. Also, sir, as you know that NCR is not only a capital of India but also energy capital also. So 80% of the companies and 80% of the firms, they are putting all their money over there. Headquarters are there. Plant might be in Telangana or Rajasthan, wherever it is. So do you think normal lawyer from tier 2 city or tier 3 city can get into, or only it is the feast for Delhi lawyers or Delhi practitioners?
Yeah, that's wonderful question. But see, if somebody is practicing or is staying in bigger cities, Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, or Bangalore, especially these four cities, he will have an advantage actually.
Okay, sir.
In the sense, for corporate work, he will have an advantage. In tier 2 cities, for example, Bhubaneswar, all the capital cities, litigation practice will be more appropriate in energy sector. And but if you want to go into detailed corporate practice in energy sector, it is advantageous if the lawyer or a professional can shift to a bigger city, because he will have that kind of work to do. So that we cannot do about we cannot do anything about it, right?
Okay.
Yes,
But
sir.
then the one more thing, positive thing is now we have learned during the COVID situation, so everything is becoming IT savvy actually. So if you are very IT savvy and you are working, then you can work from any place in the world. So even smaller towns, if you are there, and if you are good at Zoom, IT, and your network is good, so I think you have a good chance.
Great, sir. Great, great. Sir, one small thing. Like we have seen in renewable energy clients in solar, there is a lot of cable theft which is done by the local people and villagers. So generally theft to the level of like 50 lakh, 40 lakh, 30 lakh, and police, they do not write the FIR or they do not take complaints. So as you said now in the criminology that in case of any electricity theft, so can we constitute that theft into electricity theft, and where the FIR will be registered in a different way, when we don't have to prove, other party has to prove that they have not committed a theft? Can it be done like this?
I don't think so. It can be done. It is a normal theft under IPC actually.
Okay.
So, but then that's a important. We can examine it actually. Maybe you can examine it in light of the case laws and see if it is possible. And if that is possible, it will be brilliant for the solar industry, and not even solar industry, for any generating plant. As
Okay,
of
sir.
now, theft of electricity is for discoms majorly actually.
Yes, I'll
Yes.
definitely, sir, connect on this. Right now, I am handling around 1,000 megawatt capacity clients, various
Okay.
clients. Yeah, so almost like $10 billion work we are handling.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
great.
So
But
Amit Gaurav sir. Yeah.
but then whenever you file a FIR, besides normal section of IPC, please include these section 135 to 138.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So Amit Gaurav sir has a question.
Yes, sir. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, Amit ji,
Yes,
go ahead.
okay. Yes, sir. I want to know. I have worked in this power sector, in particularly in Himachal region and in small upstarts, and most of the projects are now down.
All
So,
right.
how the projects are assessed? Actually, I want to ask, because most of the people have spent about 100 crores short of, and none of the projects are working. Particularly 100 megawatts, 50 megawatts, 9 megawatts, such capacities. And now they have threat of their projects being taken over by Himachal government. But the problem is with Himachal government, even if they take over, what they are going to do?
Okay. So what what is your question?
Hydro
Like, what kind
project.
of,
I'm saying the hydro projects in
yes.
small level, a small projects like 100 megawatts, 50 megawatts, 9 megawatts, they are not working. And I am also enjoying all those litigation, but the thing is, what to do about project assessments? It's not only about hydro project. I can give you about same examples about windmills also, wind energy. Even solar also has lot of issues.
Sir, can you please articulate your questions in one line, because we are not clear with
I
it.
am saying that these small projects are not working. Can you enlighten how it, as a lawyer, we can assist and how we can go about it?
Okay,
Like,
all right. Yes, Amit. I will just try to understand and answer the question. Firstly, if a small hydropower project is complete, it is producing electricity. Let me tell you, I have a bias towards hydroelectricity plants. The best thing which can happen to India, or best thing which can happen to the consumer, is the hydroelectricity power plant. Okay, it has not only electricity, it has it has helped in national development. So whenever a hydropower plant is built or developed, or you know the entire state gets benefited. So if you see Bhakra Nangal project, because I'm standing counsel for BBMP, or you see Narmada Sagar project, or Omkareshwar project, now Madhya Pradesh is recording a 20% growth in agriculture. And the reason for that 20% growth is that of these dams which are now operational, and the canals are being...
Definitely, sir, there is no issue 200,
Yes.
200 megawatts and above. But when it
Correct.
comes to smaller projects, there are a lot of issues.
Yes. So if the smaller project is complete, and nobody is
There are no
off-taking...
transmission lines. Many projects in Himachal Pradesh, there are no transmission lines for years.
All right. So maybe we have to analyze this question, and we have to understand what we can do. But as a expert in a power sector, if you can send me brief of projects who are not operational, maybe I will ask my team to do a pro bono exercise and identify how we can this is a good question in terms of right to energy movement.
Yes.
Whatever
yes,
investment has happened, whether it is 10%, 20% or 90%, it should go full force, and it should be utilized by the people of India. It is, after all, it is taxpayers' money. It is somebody has taken loan from bank and utilized in creating
Not
this
only
infrastructure for nation.
taken loan from bank. You sir, you are well aware. First you acquire the land, then
Yes.
the law keeps changing, and the acquisition price keeps on going high as the person with the village owners move up to Supreme Court. You pay hefty sum there, then you start doing work. You manage with the locals. There are anywhere in India, wherever you may be, you have this local issue you have to resolve, and then when you are ready with the project, then you don't have transmission line. One issue. Even if you have a transmission line, now the water flow, which was supposed to give 25 megawatts, 50 megawatts, is not having enough flow for 4 months, 5 months. Project is stopped, and many machines are going out of order.
Amit Gauravji, I will add something to this. You are absolutely right with these things, and there are challenges to take the right to energy movement forward. One example I will give you, if you remember, it will be helpful to the entire team which is listening to this webinar. Hello. There is a Srinagar project is there, and in Uttarakhand. Hello. It was 90% complete. Hello. So that project, somebody filed a case in National Green Tribunal, NGT, and the project was stayed. Yes. So for 2 years, the project was stayed. It was GMR was building the project, and when the last day of argument, final argument, and the senior advocate was appearing, Mr. Dave was appearing, he argued. After that, my arguments were there in NGT. So the arguments were very, very long, and it took 4 o'clock the courts wind up, but then the argument went till 4:15, and then the judges said, Niranjan, I will take up your matter next date of hearing because of these arguments. And then in general, they asked me, the members of the National Green Tribunal, they asked me, Niranjan, you have written a book on electricity laws. What is your view about this GMR project? I said I will ask 2-3 questions. So I asked first question that when was the trust registered which has filed a case against that GMR hydropower plant? It was a very, very surprising thing which we understand, that the trust was registered 1 day before filing the NGT case against the hydropower plant. Second question I asked, that who are trustees, where they belong? So the 2 trustees were, one trustee was from Gwalior and one trustee was from Delhi. So I said that the hydropower plant is in Uttarakhand, the village of Uttarakhand is getting disturbed, and what are these 2 people from Delhi and Gwalior doing that? And I said, if I told the NGT, I told the court that if I would have been in the USA, I would have filed a claim of 2,000 crore in that NGO, because they, for 2 years, they have not allowed water to run. For 2 years, they have not allowed electricity to be supplied to the consumers. For 2 years, the irrigation channels were dry because of this, and the country has, behind 2 years because of these things. So Amit Gaurav, I think you understand my point, and maybe you
Thanks
can
a
take
lot.
the.
Thanks, sir. Very,
Yeah. So Apurva, now Apurva has a question.
Yes. Hi, sir. Sir, my question to you is, am I audible?
Yes, yes, tell me.
Yeah. So my question is that what advice would you give to young lawyers who've been practicing in the profession for 2 to 3 years to develop and maintain contacts with the who's who in the sector? Suppose a young lawyer wants to go independent in the sector, and there are only few players in the sector, and they only trust a handful of lawyers. So for people like me, if I want to go independent, what would you suggest? Would you even consider it as a feasible option, or I mean, I'm open to this not being a feasible option if it is in your view. I mean, I want to ask your view about it. What would be your thoughts about this?
So Apurva, you are doing your independent practice?
Not in the electricity laws. Like I stated, that for young lawyers, many companies are not trusting, because a handful of lawyer practice in this sector, and they have a lot of experience compared to young lawyers like me. So I often see them being favored over a young law. So that is what I was asking about. That would it be feasible for a person who's just practiced for 2 to 3 years to go independent, or should people like me spend more time in firms which practice the law?
Okay, and Anubhav, you want to add something about what Apurva has asked?
No, sir.
I think so. Apurva, you should do one-to-one with Anubhav. Actually, he has more experience in educating about how to do networking and what will be the best practice.
No, I was just wondering if you could just let us know
Yeah.
the who's who in the sector which we could approach, and because I assume you would know the people here since you've spent so much of time in the sector.
Correct, absolutely. So see, if you can do some, which we call it R3,
Right.
research for revenues and results. So R3 concept, just apply this concept R3, research for results and revenues. जितना पढ़ना था बेटा आपने पढ़ लिया, करा दी पापा ने LLB और ग्रेजुएशन कर लिया, सब कुछ कर लिया. अब टाइम रिसर्च फॉर रेवेन्यूज एंड रिजल्ट्स है. So you do research on that topic, which will give result for the client, which will give results for the industry, which will give results for the society and the nation, and which will give revenue to you. So if you find that maybe this new aspect, COVID is coming, what will be the impact in energy sector for COVID, and how to mitigate that impact?
Correct.
Or what are the force majeure clauses in power purchase agreement, how to mitigate? You can mitigate this in several ways, whether it is in insurance, whether it is invocation of the force majeure clause, or any other aspects. So if you remember what I apply this test of R3 always. Maybe if it is useful to you, you can apply this test and do accordingly.
Thank you so much, sir.
So people, we have already exceeded time by 50 minutes, so we have to bid you adieu. So I request Raj sir, if you can provide us your email ID so that we can reach out to you for any unanswered query.
Yes. So, but should I type it in this chat box?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just try to type it in the chat box. But if somebody has a urgent requirement, they can go ahead. So Universal Publication has published it, Guide to Electricity Laws in India. And I am sharing the website of our foundation, which is very important, which is called DGEF.in. So there is a lot of knowledge in the website of the foundation. There are around 100 articles on electricity laws. So it is free of cost. You can go and read those articles. Yeah. And always, if you visit the website, then you will have a lot of other information also, activities going on. One thing, one more thing I want to educate everyone is that, keeping in view that the energy is a specialized sector, recently on the advice of all the regulators, we have started this International Energy Arbitration Center. So that International Energy Arbitration Center is there to resolve all the disputes across the world in energy sector. So we said ki why should we go for every dispute to London or Singapore? Let us create in New Delhi a international energy arbitration so that we can resolve the all the arbitration issues not only of India, of the world. So you all can also be part of that international energy arbitration in future whenever the appropriate times there. Okay, Anubhav, I hand over to you.
Yes. Great session. Great answer, sir. Sir, can you see the chat box? People are typing such a positive
Yes.
feedback for you. So yeah, it's time for us to bid you adieu. But I would like to take the liberty of plugging in Lawsico's course on energy and on energy laws. So what we guys do is we provide weekly classes with exercises to all our learners, and the proper feedback is also availed to the learners via the medium of calls and WhatsApp messages. Our evaluators are available 24/7. The faculty which is teaching you can also connect to them on the WhatsApp and calls. So you should really give it a try. I have sent the link and the contact number in case of any query. So with this, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Raj sir, for giving us so great insights and such a rare information. Thank you everyone for joining the session and contributing to it with such a great questions. With this, I would like to bid you guys adieu. So, okay, have a great day. Bye. Take care.
Thank you, Anubhav. It was a super session. Thank you so much. The participants were highly interactive. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
In the chat. Okay.
everyone have a nice day and have a wonderful
You too,
journey
sir.
in your life. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Okay.